Welcome to Shark Week on Bloodbath & Beyond. Today we review Deep Blue Sea 2. Stronger, wiser, deadlier.
Directed by Darin Scott, starring Danielle Savre, Rob Mays, and Michael Beach, Deep Blue Sea 2 is about Durant.
I'm Carl Durant. You must be...
Uninterested in small talk.
A guy with a lot of money and a lot of paranoia who thinks that machines are going to be taking over the world. In an attempt to make humans smarter, he creates this serum that enhances human intelligence. He tests it on sharks, and the sharks become smarter, self-aware, and more vicious. Now it's up to his scientists and Misty, a shark conservationist, to either save or defeat the sharks. So what do we like?
I liked that this film focused around bull sharks. Every shark film, you seem to have your megalodons, you got your great whites, but in this one, they went bull sharks.
And the sharks looked good. We had lots of different types. So we did have CG, we did have practical sharks, and we did have real footage. So the combination of all of them made the sharks seem a lot more real than you might find in some of the other shark movies we've reviewed and will review this week. The same can be said for the sets and the kills, because there's some practical, there's some very CG stuff.
We had mini sharks attacking people, which is fun. I like the idea of like little baby sharks just going at it like piranhas. That's something that's different. So they had their variety of kills.
I also enjoyed our cast. We had a wide range of characters. We had like our nerd, we had the marine biologist.
So a neurophysiologist, a neurobiologist, and a shark conservationist enter a bar.
We had the super egotistical scientist who thinks he knows everything. The hunky guy that looks like Eric from the Death Twitch. Danielle Savre did a pretty good job as Misty. She was our female protagonist.
I help people see that sharks aren't monsters. But your sharks, you turn them into monsters.
She was like one of the few characters that showed concern, and she showed more emotion than most of the characters, and I thought she did a good job.
I actually really enjoyed Nathan Lynn, who played Aaron, the IT nerdy guy. He was like the comic relief, but he was also like the smartest, and I mean it in like his decision making. He was the guy that you were just waiting to die because he seemed the most vulnerable, and that's what's like fun about the shark movies like this. You're just like waiting to see who's going to die and who isn't going to die, so it makes a good guessing game out of it.
Another good thing that they did in this movie was their use of locations, because you can tell that this was a fairly small budget. Yes, it is Warner Brothers, but it is directly made for home video. So the budget must have been tight, because they had like this very small kind of like corridor that they continued to use, and one of the tricks that they used to make it seem like different spaces was just maybe like a Philips Hue light that they would change to red, green, blue, and orange, I think. And so you knew where characters were, and you knew how close they were to being able to interact with each other once they got split up. So it's stuff like this that low budget indie features that can learn from, because it's easy to use one location multiple times just by using different camera angles and different lighting. Now, what didn't we like?
I'm kicking this off with the dialogue. I don't expect great dialogue or conversational pieces in shark movies, but this one was really awkward in how everyone came to their decisions. They're just having like a casual conversation, or someone's like making an argument, and they couldn't be more opposite as to how they reacted.
Give me the key. What? No.
Even though this was a low-tier Warner Brothers, this had a way bigger budget than something like Planet of the Sharks. That's what it kind of reminded me of, because they were like hanging out on the facility, talking about topside too much.
Call the Coast Guard on the topside SAT.
Get topside, call for help!
Please follow me topside.
You need to get topside.
I agree.
And some of the situations were a little bit awkward. For example, you'd have somebody like turn around for a brief second while you got Misty over there. She must have just stripped down and threw on a wetsuit before they get back to her dialogue.
And then CrossFit Jesus is just talking to everyone, and then he's in the water with like full scuba gear on. It's just so weird when it goes from like shot A to shot B, and it feels like 20 minutes have passed. Like, these are things that like people need to take time to put the gear on, but it happens in an instant.
And like, characters are dickheads for no reason. Obviously, we have our super paranoid scientist being an asshole. That's what he's gonna do. But then you also have side characters that aren't doing as much as they could to save the people that they cared about in the facility. Many times people are just like left to die almost by their significant other, which kind of leads to a very formulaic way that this movie was put together. Basically, they get together, they introduce themselves, they realize that they don't like each other, then they split off into pairs, and then you're just waiting for, okay, who's gonna die from these two and who's gonna survive? It's almost a little monotonous, especially like I said, with the hallways. It is nice that they use one set with different colored lighting, but it gets a little obnoxious when it's really just two people in that hallway at all times.
And essentially the threat was just the baby sharks. We knew there was like 5 bull sharks outside of the facility, but this whole movie focuses on the baby sharks inside the facility. There's no rhyme to reason as to the sharks' motivation other than they're smart enough to know that they're pissed off with how they've been treated.
Another like big plot hole, the main guy has a little beeper on his necklace that he can basically tell the sharks to fuck off and they'll split and go do their own thing. Yet in all of the major crucial scenes, he like completely forgets that he has the damn thing. It's in your face the whole time. It's a bright pink thing on his neck, and he only uses it in the first scene ever just to demonstrate what it can do, and then never uses it again.
Yeah, another thing they just like completely forgot about or didn't even want to go in a good direction with is the fact that Durant was drinking the shark serum and nothing happened to him. Can you imagine him just like sharking out?
Getting webbing so he can swim better, maybe gills.
And some nice like sharp teeth, but like nothing.
No, he got the blueprints of the place that he built. I don't know what that was about.
And it was so dumb. Like there was no repercussion for him actually taking it. And there was like no side effects other than he got angrier than what he normally was.
I am so close to a breakthrough that will change the course of history.
He was testing on the sharks at the same time he was testing on himself. So if you're testing on yourself, you don't need to test on a different species because they're going to react different to the serums than you would. And you're already working on yourself, so you are the proof of the fucking pudding, dude.
Artificial intelligence is becoming stronger every year. We'll lose control of them, and our world in an instant will become obsolete, and they will destroy us.
I think that he's just super paranoid. I think that's a side effect of every single drug. Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. This movie wasn't really a sequel, more like a movie that had the same concept, but with 1/30th the budget, and 100% less the star power. The concept is fine enough. I enjoyed it actually, and the characters were both likable and hateable, so you actually cared what they were doing, but what they were doing wasn't necessarily what real people would do. I mean, they're in an extreme situation, so obviously we can't really put ourselves in their wetsuits. I actually enjoyed our sharks. I liked the kills that we saw, and I liked the sets that they had. However, just in general, the movie isn't terribly good. I wouldn't say it's necessarily bad. Obviously, we've seen a ton of shark movies. This isn't in the upper echelon, that's for sure, but I think that it's probably still just worth throwing on, even if it's gonna be background noise for something that you're doing on the computer. So I'm gonna give this 2 shark fin selfies out of 5.
Deep Blue Sea 2 is really a standalone film. It is much better than most shark movies out there. I will give it credit in that sense because we did have cool sharks, we had enjoyable characters, and we had a cool looking facility that they moved around in. The problem in this film is the story and the pacing. It's really poorly paced and the story is very weak and cookie cutter. But on the plus side, you actually get shark kills. So that's a bonus in a Shark Week review. But overall, it's just one of those films that you're not gonna miss anything if you don't check it out, but you can still have fun with it if you have nothing else to watch. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this film 2 waterbeds out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, there are links in the description where you can find it. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay updated with everything Bloodbath and beyond, and stay tuned for another Shark Week episode tomorrow.